Yeah, what's up internet? Since Media here, and I just want to give you a quick update on the state of my sampling robot program. There was quite a long video about this a few weeks ago. This is a processing sketch which I'm using to automate the creation of samples for the Decent Sampler plugin. This is a great free sampler plugin, quite flexible, but the particularly nice thing about it is that when you make a number of samples, you sort of define all the metadata in a big XML file. So what I did was I wrote this code here in processing, and what it does is it sends MIDI out to your external synthesizer or keyboard, plays a range of notes and records them all, saves them as individual samples, and then creates the XML file for the Decent Sampler. Now, I went over all that in the last video. This is really just an advert to say there's a new version of it. The new version is available in the same place as the old one is, the GitHub repository here, Processing Sampling Robot, and it's got some nice features. The new features are that we also, as well as a range of notes, we also sample at a range of velocities. So if your synth is velocity sensitive, you can sample a quiet, medium, loud, or any gradation you like. We generate a nice looking cover just with some random processing code, and finally we also add some of the standard effects to it. So I'm not going to go through all of this code today, just some highlights. Here's how you actually create your cover. There's a thing called an iGraphic here. You just have to implement one of these iGraphic objects. They have to know how to start drawing, how to draw each frame, and how to finish. You can find a couple of examples here. So the random rectangles is the full one. There's also a kind of random lines one here. When you get the code, this, if you know processing, this should be fairly straightforward to see what these are doing. This code is obviously somewhat longer. We're now doing a run through the velocities as well as the notes. Again, if you watch the last video and you understand a bit about processing, you should be able to follow that. If you don't want to get involved in this code, but you'd just like to use it, and you've got processing, then the only things you really might want to do is perhaps play around with some of these graphics. And here's the main code, right? You start off by creating a new graphic object here. That's just the title, my instrument. And then you create a new sample robot. This is just the root of the file, my inst here, of all the file names for the WAV files, etc. Put the graphic in. This note range, octave start step, that's going, okay, we're going to go from 4 octaves starting at MIDI note 36 in steps of every 4th semitone. So that's going to create samples at each of these notes. Volume range 0 to 107 in steps of 40. That's self-evident. This 300, that's how long we're going to hold the key down for in terms of milliseconds, so 300 milliseconds there, and the overall sample length is going to be 4,000 milliseconds, so 4 seconds. That's all you need to do. Just set up your voice on your external synth. What I've been doing recently is running that old Kawai K1 through a rather cheap Zoom guitar pedal just to add a bit of kind of noise and reverb to it. And the kind of sounds I'm getting out are like this, right? Let's just add a decent sampler. Let's load one up. Surf horn. Right. So here's how it looks. This was random lines to generate this sort of background cover. Still put the volume up a bit. So that came out of the Kawai keyboard, but it went through the guitar effect to add a bit of distortion to it. We've got a filter here, so we can do a cutoff. Now obviously you could get in and edit these by hand, or you can change the code. We got reverb. We could add a delay to it. There's a chorus. These are just built into the Decent Sampler. These effects are fairly subtle, and yeah, the point of having them is just to give a little bit of an extra vibe to your things. So, and yeah, but now this is creating a file like this is automatic, so that's what you can do with the new thing. There's a few more. Here's some more I've created. Just playing around with some of these to make little riffs and things. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. If you use processing and you've got some external synths you'd like to sample and you've never got around to it because it takes a bit time consuming, then this will really speed it up for you. So have fun. And yeah, Decent Sampler is a great sampler. I'm just grabbing a whole lot of things. It's inspiring to have these new sounds in a new context. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon in another one.